Hello, my name is David Leemaster. I work in Ops 12, which is in District 1, Zone 2, and that's for the Ohio State University, and I'm the maintenance machinist too. Today we're going to do basic maintenance on an air compressor, and here's some of the tools that we're going to be using today. Very basic tools. One of the things that we're going to be using is just a 3/8 inch drive socket ratchet set. We have just a basic 8-inch crescent wrench. We also have several open and closed in wrenches. Very common and universal screwdriver. A lot of people just refer to it as a 11-in-1. Have the world famous channel locks, or some people mention them as water pumps. We also have a square, and we're going to use a square for belt alignment. We also have a piece of string here that we can use for sheave or pulley alignments. After we drain the oil from the compressor, might need a funnel to refill it. Another thing that a lot of people don't think about grabbing is a clean shop rag or a towel of some kind. With each air compressor system here on campus, typically they have two sides. While doing maintenance on one side, that will be shut down. The other side's going to run. So for safety, always have your safety glasses. These are your basic air filters, and they're very common here on campus. However, there's a multitude of different sizes, and that just goes with the make, model, and style of your air compressor, and also the environment. Each filter does differently and where the location of the compressor's at. Also too, with your basic maintenance, you need to refer to your shop manual or owner's manual for your air compressor and make sure you're going to do the proper oil. There's several different types of oil. Basic ones are your Johnson Control oil, your straight 30 weight non-detergent oil, and we have the Quincy oil. Here on campus we have a multitude of Quincy compressors, so it is highly recommended that we use Quincy products. Also too, with air compressor maintenance, belts. We talked a little bit about alignment, but making sure you got good belts and in proper alignment, and making sure they're not worn out, cracked, or too loose. Belts come in many different sizes and styles, but again, you just need to check with the shop manual or the owner's manual for the compressor to see which belt you might need. All right, now let's get started. Okay, so here's our standard air compressor. As you can see, there are two compressors on each tank. The one thing to keep in mind is, even though we're going to be doing basic maintenance on one side, we're going to isolate and have it shut down, but one side is going to be on. The reason for that is air compressors control building operations. It takes care of the thermostats, which control heating and cooling. It also controls control valves. So without an air compressor, you have no control over a building. So in this case, we're just going to isolate one side. And the way to do that is we're going to take the toggle switch, select the compressor that we want to keep on, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to flip this toggle switch to the off position. Now we have isolated one side of the air compressor itself, while the other side is going to keep running. So there's three basic steps with air compressor maintenance. First one is your air intake filter. We'll look to see if that needs replaced. We have the belt. We're going to be looking and changing that. And also we're going to be changing the oil, which is done on the back side of the air compressor itself. So the first thing we want to do is loosen the wing nut off the cover. And we're going to remove the lid and remove the old filter. And as you can see, I've got a brand new one right here, pretty well identical. And we're going to put that back in, make sure it's seated. Going to replace the cover and make sure to put your wing nut back on. And when putting the nut back on, You do not have to over tighten it, just one that's snug. So checking the belt, the first thing that we need to do is simply remove the cage or the actual belt guard. And I've already got the screws loosened up. So take out all of your screws. And now we can properly check the belt for any wear, and we're going to check the tension. Checking the tension, you just simply put your finger on the belt in between the pulley and the sheave and just push down. And typically you're looking for anything between a 1/2 inch or less of deflection. In this case, the belt is looks really good. There's no cracks or evidence of wear. So this belt will still be good for the next time around. To change the belt though, that gets a little bit more involved, and that might be covered on a later video on how to change a belt. So the third and final thing we're going to do is actually change the oil in the compressor. And first thing we're going to do is going to remove the plug out of the drain line itself. And after we remove the plug, we want to set up our drain funnel. And I typically use a 5-gallon bucket, but you can use a multitude of things. Now we're going to remove our filler neck cap. And now with that removed, now we can open our valve and begin to drain the oil. Now that we have the oil drained out and put in a bucket, we can get a hold of EHS, who will come out, pick up the used oil, and they will properly have it disposed of. And to add new oil into the compressor, we have our filler neck, and we're just going to put our funnel right inside there. And you want to slowly add in your new oil. And you often want to check your sight glass. This is the sight glass, and this tells us how much oil we're going to put in the compressor. And you'll see the oil line come to about halfway on your sight glass, and that means you have a full compressor. And right there we have it. We're just right at the halfway mark on our sight glass, and that means the compressor is full of fresh oil. So now that we've changed our air filter, we checked our belt and changed the oil, we want to make sure that we put all our plugs and caps back on, and we also replaced the belt guard. And now we're ready to put the compressor back into operation. So we'll come over here and go back to our toggle switches. We're going to put it in auto, and we're going to put that compressor into run. And now the air compressor is back to its normal operation. Thanks for watching the video, and if you have any questions about air compressors, you can always go to your MCL or your immediate supervisor.